Alright, hello to people who will be watching this. This is just a demo of Angular basic CRUD application created. So I'll just start by demoing the actual application. So here you have the courses displayed. This is fetching information from the API, which is fetching from the database. So I can just start off by explaining probably the add course. So there's a course here we can add. So I'll just say COS 12 semester 1 and description dead. If you know, you know what this module. But anyway, so added that to the database, which it showed up over here. And then obviously I can edit this. Probably should have put it over there, so I can just change this and add like data, the data structures and algorithms and so you can just change that and submit the change, which will actually change it over here. Or you can, when you're actually doing this, then you can actually like say you want to change it. Some people want to change it to death, and maybe they don't want to do it anymore, so you can just press cancel and it take you back and changes. And you can obviously delete this, so you delete it over here. Show you that the course is deleted, and you can just press exit or go away, update. And obviously the same cancel functionality works. And if you're wondering what all of this is just validation. So as you can see, the submit button is grayed out if you haven't put something. So if all the fields are inputted, then the submit button is enabled. And obviously you can also cancel from here, which one save those changes. So I think I've covered everything. So even this works, just to show you the all the data. Updates works, obviously the ID is grayed out because you don't want that to show up. So yeah. So okay, we can just start showing you the web API. So head over to C Sharp, that is in .NET Framework, .NET Core, and not .NET Framework, .NET Core. So let me just stop this running. So I'm going to start off at the controller side. So obviously, um, causing the repository over here. This is just a get method to get all of the courses. This is the routing. So on the front end, it will actually be calling from this route over here. So did this for us. Thank you. This is a try and get. Try and catch. So try and get all the courses from the repository, and if it returns well, then it will return the results or we'll catch this status code. I'll explain this method just now to show you. So for the get one, this is to get the course for like editing, so you want to display that to the front end. So you'll get the course using the ID. You'll be passing this ID from this ID will be passed from the front end using this route over here. This is the actual ID that we're going to be retrieving. And then you get that, and obviously you're gonna try and get post ID to this method of here, which I'll explain again. And then we'll push the ID back to, we'll return the ID object back to, that is what will happen. But doesn't work, we'll return the status code. Add ID, add course, we'll just bring in the course from the course object. This will be important from the front end. And then we'll just go to the repository and then we'll run this method of adding the course. And then we'll return results of this, input for the status code, simple stuff. And then for the updates, obviously you want to pass in the ID of the so the update actually is making use of this function. This method over here, get course, and this one over here. So it's going to get the course, the one that you're going to be editing and displaying to front end using this method. And to actually submit the changes when you click the button, we'll pass in this ID over here, ID that you just you're going to be passing to your object that you got. Passing this ID, passing the actual course object, and then it will run a try. We'll try push the, we'll try update the changes to the database, and if it returns well, then we'll return everything like that. And if it doesn't, we'll return the status code. Yeah, and delete is also just using one parameter ID. Go to the database, check if it's okay. If it's okay, then if the delete was successful, it's okay. I know it's okay, but if it isn't, then return that exception. And over here on the repository, we actually created these. These methods are the ones that we can be making use of over here. And now, like course repository, or usually you call it like a data service or whatever you call it. So over here, that's where the get course method is defined. This the get course method is also defined. Everything is not asynchronous there. The add course, because you're going to be bringing in a course objects that you can be adding. Delete, you'll need the parameter, the ID parameter, and for update you need the ID parameter and the actual ID object. So this relates to this, which then relates to this stuff over here. So from here, these are all the methods that we're calling from here. These are all the methods that are just defined here. So for obviously get your course, we'll just go to the database, retrieve all the courses, and then send them and return them to you. You kind of have that always for asynchronous. If it doesn't, so return none as an exception. So for the ID, we'll bring in the ID that we pass through. We'll go to the database, run a query, check using and land to check if the course if this ID matches any course that's on the database. If it does, we'll return it and we'll just turn asynchronously like that. So simple. Adding the course or bringing the objects, add course objects. What we'll do is we'll add the course to the database and we'll save those changes to the database and then return the course. If it doesn't work out, then we'll return none. Then for update course asynchronously, we'll bring in these two parameters and then it will create a new course, like an updated course. And then on the DB context for the actual course that we want, it's just going to go there and go. So the database will find this course that matches on the database. And if the course is null, like so, if this doesn't return, then we'll just return the course. But if it isn't, then we'll take the course that we just received, so the current one that's not changed, and we'll give it the new attribute of the one that has been changed. If you understand. So we'll give you all the attributes of the one that's been changed on the make changes first, then we'll update that to the database. Maybe I haven't explained it properly. It's getting this from the database. It's applying the changes that you passed in. So the object that you passed in is making those changes. It's giving its assignment to the actual course that we just added. And then this course over here, this course object from the database, we're going to update that and then save the changes. Then we'll return the course, of course. And then delete, very simple, finds the object, the course objects from the database. It's null, then returns null. If the object is found, then it will remove it from the database and save those changes and return it to you. So that's the web API. Very simple. So let me just jump into the front end. So this is done using Angular. I'll just start off with the index HTML. So over here, the next HTML, we just added. This is just some simple stuff. I don't need to really run through this and put check and all that stuff. So if I'm going to go on to app module over here. So I just added a navbar over here. And obviously this navbar is using a router link, which will send you to the course listing page. And also over here, will send you to the add course page for the navbar. Notice the navbar items that I added up. So that's just the routing over there. Same goes for here for the home. It's just routing you to the courses to the main home page. So that is the navbar. Don't really need to explain too much over there. Maybe I need to explain, trying to see if there's something that I need to explain. Over here, obviously these are just the components that we added. I think I'm explaining most of the stuff. It's regards to that. Just looking for where you linked the actual data, the actual API. I believe it was okay, it's somewhere there. I think just for time's sake, I'll start running through the actual data service over here. There you go. So this is the web API URL over here. So we'll call this web API. This is the web API over here. So I already closed Swagger, but this is the web API. So that link URL. And then over here, just bringing the HTTP client over here. Simple. Get courses, here this was just calls it from the API, we'll call that method. So this method over here on the API, this method over here from the API, we'll call it. And then we'll just return the get courses objects to the get courses components, which I'll get to just now. And then we'll return that result. Same goes to add course. Bring the add course object, and then we'll just post it to the database, which will actually add it. So go into this link over here, and it will add the actual course component over here. Same goes for ID to get the ID, since we only need, this is a get, so we're only passing in the ID to actually get it. So get it from the URL here in the controller on the web API, and then we're just passing in the ID. I'll explain all of this in detail just now, where this ID is coming from and where this is coming from. Same goes for updates, passing in the ID, just putting it into the database. So if you see, adding the course interface, course object, I mean, and then just bring in those parameters that we'll be calling. And this is the stuff that we retrieved from our controller. So remember, on the controller side, we'll get for posting, for updating course, posting these parameters over here, which is quite simply the stuff over here, these parameters over here. So calling that method, updating it, calling this method, deleting it, calling this method on the controller, this idea over here. So that's the data service. Simple, explained. So now we go to the courses page. So over here. Okay. So maybe I could start at the components page here. So okay. On we construct the site, so when the page just loads, we want to have the data service of the other reported data service. We also call it router. This is just for redirecting purposes. Then over here, when the page loads, it will actually load the get codes function. This function is defined over here. And then you can just log that to the console just to see when you're debugging if it actually showed up. The success boolean over here, I'll explain that just now, but it sets it false. This is just to for the delete. So if the delete has occurred successfully, which is can be shown over here, then this will change to true, which will enable us to trigger the alert on the front end. I mean on the HTML page. I'll show you just now. This is the get course function defined, so you get from the database, and then the results over here, you need to subscribe, of course. And, results over here will just be defined into this object over here, and we can just pass in a simple for each on this array that we just created, and we can just add that item to the course over here, and then we'll be able to access these courses on the front end. I mean, keep saying front end on the HTML page. And this reload over here is just when you delete something, when you press the delete button, it will just load this reload function over here. Maybe I could have done it differently, but that's fine. So delete over here will bring in a delete ID. I'll explain where this ID is coming from just now. And then we'll go to the data service, pause and run this function delete. And once that's done, then we'll just use the router, this router that we just defined over here. And then that router is going to navigate to the courses page. So, and if that is all done, then the success of the variable here will be set to true. Meaning on the actual page, which is this is just simply reach that page over here. This is just a if statement. If there's no objects that have, if there's no courses that have been passed to the front end, then it will show. It won't show this actual table. What will happen is we'll go over here and run if the courses are not there, and if they're not there, then we'll simply display this paragraph over here, just indicates no courses were found. So this is a simple thing, table with the for each. course names will lead through every single course and it's a course name. We'll just display this in the table row, and in this table row you have the edit button. This edit button has a link to the edit page, to the edit courses page, and we'll be passing in this parameter over here, this variable over here, which is why over here when I said when you're updating on the update. Okay, I'll only be able to explain it properly when I get to the updates components, but passing that to the updates page. And then over here, you are calling this parameter, this delete one, passing the ID to that delete course page over there. So that's how that works to enable the delete on the component. And then if the delete was successful, then what we'll do is display this alert. And this alert over here, you can, if you want to close it, we'll reload the page and update the changes that have been made. So that's simply the courses one. Not too complicated, very simple. I can go on to the add. Let me just start with the add. So the add-on. Okay, let me start off over here on settings. So what we'll do is we'll create this sort of course database that's this is something that's already been defined over here. So what we'll do is just create this object based on what was defined in this TS file, the course interface that was defined over here. We'll just create that object. And then bring in the data service, we bring in the router, and then we'll have the add course method over here, function. I mean, what it will do is this function, will call it from the add course data service, so just bring in the objects over here that we defined here, over here. And you're wondering, like, if it's bringing in, well, it's empty over here, it doesn't actually have the values assigned. I'll show you how the values are assigned just now, because this component here is linked with the actual page. So what it will do is, once we enter the details, it will update or add the course to the database using this data service. And then for the results, we just navigate to the courses page. And then for the cancel, just navigate to the courses page. So how this is linked to the front to the web page, let me explain up here. So on the ng form over here, what you can actually do is go to show this ng model over here. So what that will do was get the course component that we just created over here. So this request, this add course request, it's going to be assigned to this value here. So this is just a better way of doing it. And obviously, if this input, this field is not valid, then what will happen is it will say please enter name. So if the field is empty, it will say please enter name. It's just a quick if statement. Same goes for this one. Same goes for this one. And then this is obviously linked to the duration, name, description. And that will do is have a disabled form. So if the form is invalid, meaning if one of the values are not entered, then it will disable the submit button. But if it isn't, then you'll be able to submit. So when you press submit, yes, the submit event here, we'll call this function over here, and then that function is the one that I explained over here, when it just adds the actual code for the database. This is just to prevent like invalid inputs being sent to the database. So the cancel will obviously redirect you, so that is the add course component. So if I'm going to explain the edit components, are over here we'll create the same as the add course sort of components. Over here, what we'll do is we'll create this object based off of the course interface. So what we'll do is bring in the roots activated. I'll explain why we brought this in just now. Bring in the data service, bring in the roots for redirecting. So here, what we're doing over here, so remember on the course HTML page over here, we sent this input over here. We sent this value over here. So on the actual edit course components, what we're doing is we're retrieving those values using this activated root over here. So we're retrieving that ID from the URL. That's what we're doing over here, and we're assigning it to course ID. And this course ID will enable us to actually get the course on the database. So what we use, we'll get that ID from the parameters that have been passed through, and then we'll say if it's valid. So if the course ID is valid, then we'll go to the data service. We'll say, can you give me this course? And we'll give us this course, and then we'll return the response of the course, and we'll sign the actual value, so the object of the response from the course, and we'll sign that to this. So now this will be populated with the course ID information. So once that is done, then we can actually have the update event. Sure, I'll explain how the update event is triggered on the web page, but this is the update event. It'll essentially, these new details of the inputs, same as the add courses, these will be changed from the form. So these will be constantly changed from the form. And once those changes are made, then we'll be able to call the update, send in the ID, we'll send in the details. Then what we'll do is subscribe, and then just redirect us to the courses page. Okay, I just love that just for debugging purposes. And we'll also reload. If you press cancel, we'll reload you to the courses page. And then if I were to show you update course events, so on submit, that's where it runs this actual method, which I just explained just now. Then as I explained with the add course components, this actual component, course details component, is linked to the front end. So every time you change something here, it will make those changes over here. So it's just a nice way just to avoid having that bringing in the form like over here, like initially I brought in the forms and then it's just, so I don't really need this actually. Don't really need that. So just it's just a much more efficient way in my opinion of doing it. So that's how the changes are made, and obviously I explained this on add course, same functionality of just ensuring that all the values that are inputted are valid. And if they aren't, so if they're empty, then it will just display this in red, informing you that you have to input these values. Then the cancel redirects, the submit is also disabled if the form is invalid, and then it will be enabled if it isn't valid. And then you'll be able to actually submit and call this function over here, which will be calling this function over here. So that is pretty much the gist of this application. Um, Trying to think if I missed out on anything. Sorry, this video is so long. And thank you for listening. I will. Thank you. Bye.